Good morning.
Was
That was
that the
fun.
funny face that you were talking about, like, not to make?
That was it. That was it. Yep.
I
Yep.
was
You
not
can't you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready at all times. Like Jesus coming back. You gotta be ready.
all I heard was my internet being all dumb and, like, spotty, and then all of a sudden, "Oh,
Oh,
hey,
we're
we're alive."
here.
So,
We are here. We're live
we're
and
here.
we're gonna do a radical show today. So
But
we are
guess
here
what?
for it all.
I am so glad to see your face
Oh my gosh.
because last week I was by myself,
You were, and
and
I was at the polls. I had to get my hands busy. I had to keep my hands busy because I was not going to make it if I did not keep busy and keep my head from like playing out stories that that were not true. And so I was at the polls all day. Had a great time. If you ever have a chance to do
yes.
that, go do it because it was a good time. We had people were just excited. We had people lined up at 5:30 in the morning. This is a post-election summary show for all of you who are excited to see what's happening in the country on the aspect of health. But the poll working was fun. I was like the church greeter because I was a sheriff. And my job was to check IDs and to do math before they got to the clerk so that, there was no issues. We had no
Mhm.
issues, zero issues. It was happy. People were so excited to be there. And it was a really fun experience.
That's awesome.
And then Tuesday night hit. Did you stay up? I forget if I asked you to this. Did you stay up till 3? Because we were texting for a
Yes.
long time. But did you see the whole thing?
I did. Mark woke me
Yeah.
I did first like, I fell asleep about 2, and then
Yeah.
Mark was apparently awake, and he's like, "Hey,
Hey,
hey,
your country's changing
we're
right before you.
changing."
I was sad.
But
If I would have known you were up, I would put you on FaceTime because Brian went to bed at 1 o'clock and they called the race at 1:47, which by the way, he's the 47th president. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah.
Or at least Fox News called it. That's what I was watching. Fox News called
Well,
it. But
actually, I heard CNN call it before Fox News.
so yeah.
So
Yeah.
we switched because we like to hear
Yeah. I want to
different
hear all sides.
perspectives,
Uh-huh.
and so that we would switch over to CNN, and then we'd
Mhm.
switch over to Fox, and then we switched over to, another station,
Uh-huh.
and they called it before Fox called it.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Well,
and I'm
I
like,
almost went to bed. I felt a rerun happening of 2020 when they wouldn't call Georgia. And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I just got overwhelmingly dark and very nervous. And so I almost went to bed. I'm almost like my spirit can't handle this. Oh, just tell me in the morning.
Right.
And then I started to go to the bathroom and I heard the breaking news on Fox and we got a projection and I had to celebrate and I had to just cheer and do all of the things by myself.
Well, wait a minute. There was a particular someone in your household that said that you literally woke
I
them up.
literally walked upstairs and I'm like, I'm not doing this alone, just so you know. I didn't do that to
Yeah.
Brian because I knew he had to work the next day. I
Yeah.
think he probably kind of wanted me to, but I didn't do
Yeah.
it. And so I celebrated, I cried, and I did all of the things all by myself. And then I did the next day turn on the view.
Oh,
I had to. I couldn't
oh
look
my
away.
goodness.
So
I
it was a good night for freedom for sure.
yes.
Yeah. But really
I'm mainly excited about what we're talking about
about
today,
yeah.
though.
Oh my gosh. And that morning when I went to the polls to work, I was thinking, you know what? I'm not really excited about Trump per se. I'm not one of those crazy, like our dad is. Um, but, but
What?
I got really sad because I got overwhelmingly scared that morning for just a couple of seconds on Thursday and Friday. It happened to me because when he was shot that morning there, that evening that he was shot, I told Brian, I said, we're going to win by 65%. He just won the election right here. Not for any fact of the matter, except for he should have died. Like a
Yeah,
millisecond
yeah.
later, the man should have been dead. And I thought, okay, there's a hand guiding this thing. And then I was that way. And I get so mad at people on Facebook, the Debbie Downers, who was just like, oh, it's going to be stolen. I'm like, shut up. Just shut up. We're going to see victory. Freedom's going to see victory. And then
Yeah.
that Thursday and Friday hit. And I was like, nope, 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 we're going to lose. And it was overwhelmingly sad for those 2 days. And I deleted all the apps off my phone. I didn't want to hear from anybody. That happened to me that morning, but I got sad for a different reason, because of what we're going to talk about today. I'm like,
Yes.
it is not Trump that I'm excited. It is the people that are with him. It is the
Yeah.
Robert F. Kennedys and the hope
Yes.
that we have now of cleaning up our food system and saving lives, like the whole health
Yeah.
aspect. And I've done a morph. We were just talking before we came online. I've done a morph because I'm more of a libertarian, at heart. I feel like the government needs to stay out of our business. Government doesn't need to be a part of marriage, doesn't need to be a part of anything that I'm not hurting anybody, right? And so I lean more libertarian. Um, so I'm all messed up when it comes to this. Robert F. Kennedy is a Democrat.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
former Democrat. Here I am, like, sad that we might lose this team if we lose the election, you know?
Yeah. It
So,
was really interesting though to hear the different perspective of from Robert about the difference between what a Democrat was back in the day
yes,
versus what a
yes,
Democrat is now.
100%.
And I was like, that is so
Yeah,
interesting. And the fact that
yeah.
of the matter is that as much as the Democratic parties that did join in
Mhm,
with this new party here,
mhm.
they too are like cringing. Like, I
Yeah,
really don't
they
want to
they're
claim
mad.
this.
Yeah,
They're mad about it
yeah,
because they're having to go against what they voted
yeah.
for probably all of their lives.
Yeah, they were
Um,
sabotaged. They were taken
they
over.
really
My
were.
my father-in-law is a Democrat, old-fashioned pro-life guy. He's just for the working people, you know? And
Yeah.
he didn't know where to. I mean, I feel bad for them because they were sabotaged by this radical socialist communist
New
agenda.
World. Yeah.
And now they're like, wait a minute, we got to reassess. We've got to, and so now we have a Republican Party that's a
Yeah.
huge big tent. They're taking them all in, and I
Yeah.
watched it happen live. The thing that kept me hopeful this election is watching TikTok. That kept me, and as silly as that is, I saw in real time what was happening to the American people. I saw
Yeah.
Democrats leave the party to say, wait a minute, they don't speak for us anymore. I saw the gay
Yeah.
community, the Black community, the Hispanic community, all of these communities were like, wait, this is not who we are. And they came over to the Republican Party. I
Yeah.
saw it happening live. And I'm
Yeah.
like, certainly, I know
Yeah.
that there's algorithms. And I know I was on the site of TikTok that, not everybody was on, but I'm like, no, this is too much, for this to be a fake, crossover. And so it's really cool. It's really
Yeah.
cool to see. And we
It
have
is.
more in common as Americans than we have differences. There are
So
more
true.
of us are like than different. And it's the
Yeah.
labels that separate us,
Absolutely.
unfortunately. But you sit
Mhm.
down with somebody on the other side of the aisle and you're like, wait, I believe that too. Oh, so
Yeah.
it's the media. It's the media that divides us. And that
Yeah.
was my favorite
It
thing of
is.
this entire thing
Yeah.
was watching the media crumble. Did you see Chris Wallace? He left
No.
CNN. He's
Oh,
like,
did he really?
the media is not the media anymore. And he
Right.
left to go to the podcast, into the Joe Rogan world. And crazy. Like, this is just crazy. But
Yeah.
this
I think
impacts our line of work.
it
This
does. It really does.
so that's what I want to talk about
As
today.
much as we don't want there's the part of the people out there listening right now that probably have already turned us off because they're like, "Oh, they're talking politics."
See you later. I'm not sorry about it.
Sorry.
I'm
I'm not
not.
sorry about
Nope.
especially there's topics in my world that I am not
Mhm.
afraid to speak up about.
Nope.
This is one of them. This is one where this is the common sense. This is a common factor
Yeah.
of what why I'm super passionate about health, and
Mhm.
it's not about oh, it's not about the old school
No.
way.
There is no party for this.
No.
It's
We've
life or
got
death.
We've got an
Like,
older generation that are saying, "Well, I eat like this when I was younger and I wasn't sick
mhm.
before."
Mhm.
Well, this leads us into what we're gonna talk about today and the fact that, yeah, you're
Mhm.
right. you used to eat this way and you were
Mhm.
not obese and you did not have these
Yeah,
problems and ailments that you used to have because there's a reason for that.
there is
The
a
only
reason.
problem here and the setback is that we're not asking why.
Mhm.
We're just letting it happen
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
tastes good.
Well, and we're gonna just medicate it. So we got
Yep.
another problem here. We got another case of cancer here. Up here's some chemo. Here's a pill for it. So instead of finding out the root of why we're so sick and doing the brave things like Dr. Barry, God bless that man's soul.
Yeah.
If you don't follow him, go follow him because he's on the front lines of watching this change.
Yes.
Um, People are afraid to speak out about this because we have a pill for it. And it's not all the doctor's faults. It's not all of the fault of, because we're lazy. We're like, Doc, I don't want to change my lifestyle. Give me a pill. Uh, We'd
Yeah.
rather have the pill and the shortcut than actually get healthy, get that disease out of our body because it does take a little bit of work. Coach
Yeah.
Darcy and I are living proof. Took us a year to get 130 pounds off of our body and to get healthy, to reverse our diseases. But here we are, a year and a half later, completely healthy, completely ready to change the world. But people tell their doctors, I don't need that. Just give me a pill. So part of it
Right.
lies on our fault, on our side.
Yes.
But we are on the cusp of seeing change, forced change, because you're right. You and I were talking about a video we saw. I think I saw a video. I don't know if you saw, about the little Debbies and the people that are very, very sad.
I
And
saw a
they're and
couple
it,
of
and
them.
it's
Yes.
comedy, but they're eating at one of those Christmas little Debbie's snack cakes, and they're like, "Oh man, we're mourning the passing of Red Dye 40, and they're getting ready to ban it, and all of this stuff." And so part of that is true
What?
though, because
Yeah.
people really don't care about their health. They don't care about cancer. They don't care until they get
They
the
don't.
diagnosis, and then suddenly, oh my gosh, we got to change. Um, but they really don't care. And so we are going to see a portion of the country mad that we're cleaning up our system because they're going to have to give it
Right.
up.
But the thing is, though, if companies really truly did not want to give up their
Hmm.
product, all they have to do is go
Yeah.
natural, like
Canada.
other countries are doing. It's not like they're creating something that's
Mm-mm.
brand new anymore. Now they just have to change
Yeah.
their
Canada does,
ingredients.
does it. Now,
They have
I
to
can't speak for
stop.
all of Canada. I
Absolutely.
don't know about their whole, but I know
Right.
about the Fruit Loops, right? They use natural
Yeah.
dyes from
Yeah.
blueberries and watermelon and oranges. They use natural dyes. We
Yeah.
put chemicals in there. So the
Mhm.
first part of what we want to talk about today are, what are the potential health changes that are coming if what we think is happening is going to happen, if Robert F. Kennedy, which the latest I saw is he's got the green light to do whatever he wants. Um,
Yep. Yep.
that's scary. But I'm glad I agree with him. um, but we're going to talk about the potential changes that are coming to us. Then we're going to talk about what we can do. So you are blessed, as our listeners, to have a former lobbyist, above activist, in the room, so I can give you some really good tips and what we're going to do, what Coach Darcy and I are going to do to stay on top of this, because that is number one. You got to know what you're talking about. So let's talk about, Darcy. I sent you a list earlier. We did a little bit of research before the show, and this is just a minute list of things that are killing Americans, that are in our everyday food that we have no control over. Okay, the first two were new to me. I was very familiar with the yellow dye 5 and the red number 40, the food dyes that don't need to be in our food system. I was familiar with that. I was not familiar with those first two. Did you want to start talking about those first two? I can't say that second word there, but we'll get.
The potassium and
Yeah,
the second
I'll help you
PDA.
through it.
So yeah.
Potassium.
So the potassium bromate. Well, I was reading it, but then you talked about the second word,
I
and
know
my
I
internet's really
set you
shoddy
off.
today.
Yeah,
So
I set you off. I'm sorry.
yeah. So potassium bromate used in bread to improve dough strength and rise. It's banned in Europe, Canada, Brazil, and other countries because it's considered a human, a
Cars.
possible human carcinogen.
So when you went over to Italy and you're like, and this has happened to our clients, we're like, you went over there and lost weight and you ate their
Yeah,
bread. You ate,
I did.
this
I
is
ate so
crazy.
yeah. I went over to Paris, and that's connect. It's near. It's near it.
Near. Yeah.
In Europe.
Mhm.
But I consumed the I didn't at first because I still
Mhm.
had
It's
that
scary.
intimidation. Like,
Mhm.
I've got to fit into this wedding dress.
Mhm.
Not wedding dress, this wedding gear for
Yeah.
this wedding that I was at. And I did. I ate
Uh-huh.
afterwards. I had bread, and it didn't taste um, I didn't remember the taste of bread, but it wasn't, like, marvelous. I had a
Mhm.
croissant, which was
Mhm.
marvelous, but in the end, between the walking that we did and between the breads that we had, like, I lost 5 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason why you
Yeah.
lost 5
So,
pounds.
there's a
They didn't
reason.
have
Yeah.
they didn't have it's a possible human carcinogen. And this is in our breads. We're wondering why we
Yeah.
have an issue with chronic disease here. And we have no control over it. And they label this thing. And if you want to hop on this bandwagon with us, you get this book, The Dorito Effect, because this tells you how
Yeah.
they're able to do this. So you don't have a choice. You get this loaf of bread has the stuff in it. It's illegal in other countries. It's legal here. They can put it in. It's a human carcinogen, right? The second one there, Darce.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
Hold
say that.
on. Let me
ADA.
see if I can do
I'll
it.
do the shortcut. ADA.
Azardi carbamide.
Carbamide. Azardia carbamide.
Azadio
It's
amide.
yeah. In your bread, ADA has banned in Europe, Australia due to potential respiratory issues and links to cancer in your
Mm,
bread. So,
yeah.
we're the low carb girls, so
Yeah.
carbohydrates are a target. This, it needs to be the target first, right? Respiratory issues.
Actually, I know what this one is. Listen, this ingredient, I remember, was put in Subway sandwiches. I'm sure that there's
Oh, yeah.
other, places that did this as well, but it
Uh-huh.
was, placed in Subway sandwiches for, it, like, makes it soft and fluffy,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
over the amount of soft and fluffy.
Yeah, that's why we like
So,
their bread because it's,
yes,
and
yes.
again, here's a situation where it causes respiratory issues and
Yeah,
cancer, but are we willing to give it up?
yeah,
Are we
right?
willing to do that? Um,
Yeah.
this next one. This is something that is I'm just now starting after getting the weight
Oh,
off of my body, I didn't do this when I was going through my weight loss journey, but the brominated vegetable oil or seed oils. It's used sometimes in citrus flavored drinks, so it's a stabilizer. BVO is banned in Europe and Japan over concerns about its accumulation in the body. So this stuff doesn't go away. This stuff does not go away. The seed oils are
yeah.
basically car engine. And we eat this in everything. And this is honestly, it's been the hardest thing for me to give up. Um, because it is in everything. That and maltodextrin, it is in everything.
Didn't Didn't Procter and Gamble be the ones that made the vegetable oil? Because they used to sell car engine oil, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Hey, let's sell this as human
Yeah,
consumption," and
we don't wanna
that's
go to
kinda
waste.
how because of these guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And we allow this in our food system.
that's
We
dumb.
allow this and it's in every salad dressing. Try
Yeah,
to find salad dressing without seed oil in it. It's nearly impossible.
yeah,
The food dyes is that's something new to me. And there was one video I watched
yeah,
with Robert F. Kennedy on Yellow 5. That's the one that's sticking out of my head. He's got a whole bunch of them. He says, I'm just going to pull out one. There's actually 30 ingredients that are banned in other countries. We're giving four. But there's actually about
yeah.
30 that are banned in other countries that are legal here. And this red dye 40, just think about all of those kids in school who are struggling with their behavior and the aggression and
Mhm.
the all of this. I mean, just imagine all of these kids. Um, they're linked to hyperactivity in children and other health issues. So red dye 40 and yellow dye number 5 and 6, these are things like what was that? What did he say in that video? That it is like antifreeze, like chemicals, like, and there's no need for them. There is
Mhm.
absolutely no need for them. All it does is brighten the color of whatever you're putting in your body. So the Fruit Loops makes it bright, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And you wonder why, if you eat too much of it, that your poo turns
yeah.
green. It's
Yeah.
probably
So I've changed my mind.
that's the
I have
dyes, y'all.
changed my mind. I'm able to do. I've changed a lot. I mean, if you knew me 10 years ago, I was a wicked woman. I had a lot of opinions. Um it's coming back to me. I have a lot of opinions about this, but I've changed, and it's really kind of scary because I don't have a left or right seat. I am like all over the board. I used to believe, because my libertarian freedom kind of core comes out and says we don't want to ban anything, and yet when you look at this, and there's some things that, I don't know if I have opinion on maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is a natural. It's coming from corn, right? It is sugar. So what I want to see with maltodextrin is I want it labeled as
Yeah.
sugar, because a lot of our diabetic clients,
Mhm.
have really big struggles with their blood sugar, and they're hurting themselves because it's worse than table sugar, right? So I want proof. I want I want
Yeah.
accountability, and I want truth in labeling. But these, I'm to the banning point. I'm to the banning point of where I want to work with our new lieutenant governor. I want to work with our lawmakers to get these things in our country banned.
Yeah.
Get them out of schools,
You know, the
minimum.
biggest the biggest thing that I as a so I went to school for art, and I was more in the ceramics. I do
Mm.
pottery. I don't right now because it's
Hmm.
expensive, but I handmade all of those glazes that we used, following recipes. And when I look at my food and I am seeing the
Holy
same
cow.
ingredients that are in these these
Hmm.
glazes, it makes you kinda be like, yes, some of them they're
Hmm.
natural, they're coming from
Hmm.
rocks. Silica, that is sand. That's the thing that makes it glossy when
And
heated.
that's in our food. I've seen that.
So
Silica.
and that's in our food, that's in our the clay
Hmm.
itself to hold it together. Yeah, we're not necessarily being heated to the certain degree that
Hmm.
pottery is, but the same breath, like I am titanium dioxide, that is in a glaze, the silica, that's
Yeah.
also, all of
Yeah.
cobalt, like all these things are in our
Yeah.
foods.
What was it that you
That
said on,
yeah,
I
it's
think on your Facebook this week? Was it cellulose that's sawdust that's on our cheeses? What was that you put on
mhm,
cheese?
yeah.
Yeah, sawdust.
So it's sawdust. It's basically like it's to
Mhm.
separate the
Yeah.
cheese from sticking, but you can do the same thing with Parmesan
Yeah.
cheese. Like
Yeah.
you can keep that separated, shred your
Mhm.
own cheese first of all, and then put some Parmesan cheese in there to keep
Yeah.
it from sticking. There you go. Versus having
Mhm.
the
So it comes
sawdust.
down to the why, and we're going to talk to you here shortly about what we can do, because we have power in our hands. We have more power in our hands than we have ever had before. We finally have a listening ear of those in power that have the power to stop this, and so I'm excited. I didn't want to get back into
Yeah.
lobbying. I can't not. I cannot not speak out on this, because this impacts our children and in your kids' kids. My kids, my grandkids, this impacts everything. It impacts the length of their life. It impacts their weight, their everything. And so I can't not speak on this any longer.
Mhm.
I cannot do this. So we're going to talk to you about how. But we're going to talk right now about this portion. You got to educate yourself. You have to know, number one, that you have the power to change this. And number two, you've got to be educated. This is time right now for us to go into the lab. Darcy and I, we do a lot of research when we work with our clients. We do, the majority of our day is spent with clients. But when we're not with clients, our noses in the book. We are learning because I didn't know half of this stuff. I am learning something new every day. And if we don't know this stuff, they're going to get away with it. And let me tell you why they're getting away with it or how they're getting away with it. It's all based around money. Whoever has the most money gets to lead the conversation. And so for years and years, it has been cheaper to make these products when you put the poison in them. It's been cheap and you can make more of it. So maltodextrin is simply a filler. It attaches the flavor to the molecule and it's simply so that it's a cheap way that they can make a lot of product. A lot of these are just fillers, right? And so
Yeah.
whoever has the most money on K Street gets to lead the conversation. Well, that is now changing. We just watched Tuesday what happens when we say, no, you're not going to speak for me. We are going to have a voice in this. And so now is our job is to go into the lab and start to learn about this stuff. You don't know when you're going to need it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you've got to stay
Yeah.
informed. Number one, you have to know how and why this is happening, but then you've got to stay informed because things are going to be changing very, very quickly. Now, there's some things that can be done without, in the FDA with all of the regulations. There's some things that can be done without lawmakers. So we're on the cusp of watching what's happening there. But then there's some things some things that are going to have to be driven by public policy, and that's where we come in. Did you watch, Darcy? What is that group of? Is it called A Million Moms? When they went to the Kellogg's, did you see that? It took
Yes. Yeah.
thousands
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
parents to
Food Food Babe
Food
is
Babe.
her company
Okay,
name.
and she's been working for
Food Babe.
years on this. We're just now jumping in
Mhm.
because we
And
know, right?
yeah. Yes. And this kind of goes into what the second thing is advocate for
Uh-huh.
transparency. And that's exactly
Mhm.
what she asked us to do. She asked us to sign a
Mhm.
petition for Kellogg's to see how many people are fed up
Mhm.
with this. And
Isn't it 500,000?
got above and beyond the amount. I I think
Yeah.
something around there. I was thinking 4 or 500,000, and this is that's what
Mhm.
I did. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna do anything, but my name is on
Yes.
in those boxes for Kellogg's to
Yes.
see that, having these poisons in these
Mhm.
cereals for our children as a healthy breakfast is
Right.
not okay. As much and they did not
Mm-mm.
like people standing
No.
up to them. They did not like when people were in their
No.
front yard saying,
Just
"Hey,
say she
talk
not
to
only got all
us."
those
All they
signatures,
wanted
she
to
got
do.
thousands of people to go march with her. That is
Yeah, and all she wanted to do was sit down with the big wig,
uh-huh.
and they
Nope.
did not. They did not want to
Mhm.
mess with it, and that shows you that they're
Yes.
scared
Yes.
because they're like, "Oh, well, I'm making more money than this one
Mhm.
woman here standing out here trying to advocate for us to change our product." But when they're seeing how many people are
That's
aware
the
of
thing.
this, that is the biggest thing to
Mhm.
me is it's not about politics. It's more of the more I was hearing conversation with
Mhm.
people is that I hear, did you hear that
Mhm.
and this is in our food? I can't believe that this is what I've
Yeah.
been eating so they're being
Yeah.
awoken by this
It
movement
wasn't
and
it
seeing
wasn't the meeting.
they
It wasn't the meeting that was important that day. What was important that day was that the world saw thousands of people behind this. That
yeah,
was the important thing. So a lot of people think
and they got turned
exactly.
away.
A lot of people think that, oh, since I didn't get to talk to my legislator because I didn't get to, have that meeting with them, we've failed. No, the win that day was the
Mm-mm.
thousands of people behind her, and the win that day was the millions of minds that she changed because now she's got an army and it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
Kellogg's does at this point. They have been outed. And so,
And there was a lot more people that didn't sign that
mhm,
petition because I was kind of
mhm.
sketchy
Is it
about,
real?
filling
Mhm.
out a petition. Is this real or am I
Right.
gonna get scammed? So, the people that have backed
Mhm.
her, though, was
Oh,
far
yeah.
beyond the 4 or 500,000 people that
Yeah.
did sign the petition. And just
Yeah.
advocating. I remember, years ago with, Monsanto and
Mhm.
GMOs and how hard working it took for them to get the genetically modified
Mhm.
stuff labeled at least. But now that we do have somebody that is in the political
Mhm.
system, this is gonna hopefully be a smidgen
Mhm.
better and a little
Yeah.
easier because the world is
Yeah.
now aware of
And
this.
people may be afraid. I know there's a lot of people who are like, gosh, I don't I don't want to talk about chemicals that I'm not sure about. I'm scared to talk in public. The If you're a body in one of those rallies, if you are just coming to stand, that is just as important as that woman at the front. That woman at the
Yeah.
front was speaking for us, but because of that massive picture, sometimes all you need is a picture of a rally and a picture of moment in time of what was going on. That's all you need to change the mind. I'll never forget when I was working on a policy one time. I forget what it was, but it was a national policy. And we had been working so hard. We had visited the offices of our congressmen, and they were going to vote. And when you're in Washington D.C., there's like a connecting tunnel from their offices, from the Senate offices to the floor, to Senate floor. Rand Paul was walking from his office in the tunnel and received a tweet and received a text message on what he was going to vote on. He literally changed his vote in that tunnel because of one tweet, because of one of his constituents. And so sometimes people are like,
Hmm.
well, I just don't know enough to speak out. You know enough. You know enough to say
Yeah.
that right is right and wrong is wrong. So, yes, it is going to be, Michael, it is going to be a really exciting thing to watch the process. I have
Yeah.
been glued to all of these things, offices being set up and all of these things happening. It's like watching sausage being made,
Yeah.
but absolutely everything has, a path. Everything has a path. Now,
Yeah.
I think things,
Yeah.
on a little challenging on that. I think, we're in a new day, and we have
Mhm.
spoken very, very loudly, and things have changed. And I think maybe it's not going to be uh, old business as usual anymore. I think that we might see some surprising things happen, where
Yeah.
we may have, a shorter path to our victory. I don't know. But it is fun. It's fun to
Yeah.
watch for us political junkies for sure.
It's true, but and he brings up a good point of, we're not gonna necessarily fix this in the
No.
4
Oh my
years. This is
gosh.
gonna be something that
Yeah.
everybody has to adopt. That's where the advocating
Hmm.
and what we're talking
Yeah.
about today is really important, is
Yeah.
spreading the news,
Hmm.
educating yourself on why these products are harmful and what it could look like to have a better healthcare
Yeah.
system when people aren't
Yeah.
sick because of the food that they're
Yeah.
eating. So that is the importance
Hmm.
of that, and yes, it's gonna take beyond 4
Uh-huh.
years, but I hope and pray that in those 4 years, and hope that the
Hmm.
next 4 years, the next whomever is in
Yeah.
charge next 4 years adopts this as this actually
Yeah.
was working, people are
Yeah.
getting better. If they didn't have, I mean, if they have their,
Yeah.
mindset for people
Yeah.
healing themselves instead of depending on
And it
the
won't be our
medications,
generation that sees it.
um
It'll be your kids. But it's what
yeah,
we're doing now.
yeah,
I think my appointments back to back start at 1 o'clock today. And I take it down even more narrower than Michael does here. It happens with the conversation I'm going to have with my client over,
yeah,
her sickness and over obesity or over addiction.
yep.
That's where the change actually begins. And we're watching it happen right in front of our face. And I think sometimes I take that for granted because it's a passion of mine and it's what I do. I sit with women every single day. I sit with broken people. You sit with broken people every day. Right there is where the change
Mhm.
starts. It's people who
Yeah,
have seen this and are like, wait a minute,
yeah,
I'm awake now. I got to change my own health.
yeah. It might be small, but is mighty.
Huge, huge, huge,
Huge.
huge. You. It's so true. It is when we decide that we are going to step out of the sick care system. I had somebody message me this morning saying, "Oh, my doc, is very, very angry with me because I'm carnivore and wants to put me on medications and wants the weight loss shot and all of this." And I'm like, you have a drug pusher. You do not have a doctor. Because if you had a doctor,
Yeah, no,
you would
that's
have
not.
somebody who said, hey, you're changing your life, you're changing your weight, you're doing it right. So we've got drug pushers, and we do have doctors who don't have time. They don't have time to do what Darcy and I do every day because it takes time. I literally we
Yeah.
wrestle people out of pits every day. It's exhausting, and docs don't have time to do that, right? So
No, they
right
don't.
now, Number one is the time to get your own health under control. It's time to change that and jump out of the system, because if you're a part of the system, you can't be a part of the solution. Frankly, until you get out of that
Yeah.
system where you're addicted to the sick care, as Michael said, you're not going to be a part of the solution. You're part of the problem, right? So you've got to jump out of that first. Then you've got to stay informed. You've got to know what's going on. We're going to get a list of places to follow, people that are on the front lines of this. Michael, if you have any of those on the veteran side, please send those to us, of any changes that are happening, because we want to be a resource to get this out to people. The Million Moms group, we want to be a resource. I want to see Dr. Barry on the front lines. I want to see him sitting at one of those
I do.
tables with those politicians saying, I screwed my patients so many years, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry I did that. He's apologized,
Doc between that,
Oh
Dr.
my
Ovadia is
gosh.
another one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just the
The
awakening
ones
that
with the
they have,
courage to step out of their field, it's
it's amazing.
dangerous for them. They lose their
Yeah.
licenses if they step out,
It is.
right? Those are heroes in my book. Heroes. I mean,
Mhm.
for us to complain and to
Yeah.
say enough is enough, oh, whatever, you're a health coach. For a doctor to do that, he or she has everything to lose. So you've got to get out of the system yourself. You've got to get
Yeah.
healthy yourself. You can't. Sick people have a really hard time. I say to the people of faith that I speak with, if you are sick, you're powerless to the enemy. You can't, you're powerless until you get your health back enough that you can fight, right? And then to stay informed. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I want to, us to promote is the advocacy, and you already mentioned it, ours, for transparency. If we need black box labels on food because they won't remove it, let's get black boxes on the food. Let's get these commercials that are just beckoning our kids, and we need a black box label on those foods. We need transparency. We need to know, gosh darn it, LMNT, shame on you. You are my
Right?
favorite. You are my favorite source of
Oh,
electrolytes. And
you brought that up again.
doggone it makes me mad. What makes me mad about that is not even that they're using maltodextrin. Label it. Tell us that it's in there. Don't lie to your people and say, oh, it's just a little bit. Don't.
Because they can
There we go.
hide it.
Yeah. Because of lobbyists and because of the money running through, they are able to label it as sugar-free. Maltodextrin has a higher glycemic index than table sugar. And you told us that it was sugar-free. You told us there was no added ingredients.
And we have proof. We have proof that it affects people's weight
Exactly.
loss journeys.
Because we supported your company, we had our clients on this, we were promoting it, and we have clients who have stalled in their weight. The minute we took it away, that scale dropped.
What?
I'm mad. I'm really mad about that.
Livid.
Hopefully they will have the courage to change it. Hopefully. So that leads us to the third step, and choose products wisely. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do a little bit of digging when you do that, because we thought LMNT, we thought that was clean. So you're going to have to do some digging and say, hey, what do you use as binders? We did that with salt, with the salt company. We're like, you know what? They didn't disclose their maltodextrin. What do you use? And they used guar gum. So they told us what they used.
What they said on their package too. They were not afraid to label what's in it, which it says no maltodextrin. None. So that's a good start, right?
And you know what? It's going to take some pain for this one. And then I'll tell the cottage cheese story that I told in Weight Loss Group Monday. A lot of this is overwhelming to our clients. So a lot of this is like, Monica, you tell us to clean up our food system, and I go to the grocery store and I get overwhelmed. And what we recommend to our clients is change one thing at a time. So I was looking for cottage cheese the other night. And so my only mission when I went to my grocery store was looking for clean cottage cheese without 129 ingredients. Hard to find. But I spent a good 20-25 minutes going through every single one. Finally found one. And I can say the word daisy right now, but tomorrow they may put crap in it. So so I found it. And unfortunately, it's going to cost me more money to buy a clean product, because I used to get the big totes, because my husband and I eat it. And so I like to have big, the big size. Well, Daisy doesn't make that. And same with the organic heavy whipping cream. I didn't want food glue in heavy
Mhm.
whipping cream. So that was another grocery store trip that I just found the brand, took the time to do it. Now I have to pay more money because it's a smaller container and it is smaller container. We still eat the same amount.
Yeah.
So change one thing at a time, but choose them wisely and don't settle. If you see that crap, if there is red dye 40 and if there's yellow dye, it doesn't even go in my cart. There's no way.
You know what? You know what I had to
So,
ditch? I had to ditch my skinny syrups because there was a red dye
wait a minute.
40 in there.
Hold on. Hold on. Jordans? Are you
Yes.
stinking kidding me?
Now it's not in all of them.
So maybe the
It's
fruity
not in all
ones?
of them. So if there's, like, strawberry flavor, yeah, the fruity ones definitely have it. I threw all of them
That
out.
is disgusting.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's also great, and I found this out when I was looking for
Hmm.
deodorant, is that there's maltodextrin in your deodorant. So not only are you trying to avoid eating maltodextrin, but your skin does about the
uh,
same thing that when you're
it
consuming
absorbs. That's why
food, it
I don't use
absorbs
sugar
into your
scrubs.
skin. So I was gonna say that's why you don't use deodorant. Okay.
Oh, it's just maddening. And really, honestly, you're going to have to get mad
Yeah.
enough to give them up because it's going to be hard.
Yes.
It's going to be really, really hard to give some of this stuff up because we are so addicted to convenience. We are so addicted to needing to run to the store, throw things in our cart, and head home. And that's going to take
Mhm.
sacrifice on our part. So you're going to have to want it bad enough to not
Yeah.
get cancer and not get respiratory diseases. You know, another thing, going back up to the first part. Um, of the problems of actually, the dyes and the things that we talked about is, um, I would like to see, and this may get me banned, but I would like to see them not be allowed to make commercials on drugs, on pharma. I would
Oh,
like to
yeah.
see
Yeah.
only doctors have that. The ads that they run, the ads on even in the sugar cereal, all of those things. It's like a big, warm hug for all of these poisons. I would like to see that
Yeah.
addressed. I don't know where that is in the whole scheme of things because when you mess with big pharma, holy cow, big big troubles.
Well, if you also think about it, our younger generations, like we didn't have that full effect of what the red dye 40s and all these seed
Right.
oils have done. But for the children that have been brought up from birth, they
Mhm.
don't know
Our
what it's
kids.
like
No.
to not have that stuff in their bodies
Right.
and in their system.
Can you
And
imagine what a school would look like if the kids were served Whole Foods and bacon and eggs in the morning?
yeah,
My
and you
gosh.
wonder why there's like a them having a picky, like the kids have always been picky,
Mhm.
but to the point of just going back into here where it talks,
Mhm.
you have that quote of what's that quote that you read in here?
Yeah, it is.
Hold on.
Nothing tastes like what it is anymore. Everything tastes like what we want it to taste like. As food gets blander, we crank out zestiness by the hundreds of tons to make up for it. Yeah, our kids don't have a
Yeah.
shot. I like what Dr.
They
Barry said
don't
one
have a
time
shot.
when that one mom at our conference asked, "How do you train your kids?" He's like, "You buy the crap." And
Yeah,
he at the time had, his first son who had never tasted anything but meat. He's doing
yeah,
just fine. And
yeah,
the bad part for us parents is our kids have tasted it and that makes it really crappy for us.
yeah,
But
yep,
if you're a new parent, my gosh, I know what I would
yeah.
do if my kids had never tasted it before. But
If I could go backwards, yeah.
me too.
And I don't think that this is I feel like maybe it's a compromise trying to ease them off of it, off
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
supporting those local people that are
Mhm.
making those handmade breads. Stop
Yeah.
buying bread from the store.
Yeah. So
The
true.
taste of goodness for them, it's just starting to get the crap little by
Mhm.
little out of their
One at a
diets,
time. One at a
and
time, like my
one at a time,
cottage
and
cheese trip.
inform them. Yeah,
Yeah, you
and
can't change
inform them.
everything at once,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
I did tell
exactly,
'em
and maybe make them scared of red dye 40. Have them
Yeah,
be
oh,
the
I did.
researchers.
I showed them the video.
Good for you.
I
Good for
did. I
you.
showed them the video of what is also in Red Dye 40, which is these little red parasites that they
My
use to make
gosh.
the color. So they use those chemicals. Those are not red until they use those little parasites to make them red.
It's
So
good. And then they become their own advocate.
they did.
You're just giving them the tools. You're giving them, and then you make up the decision for what
Yeah.
you want to do. You know,
Yep. Yeah.
that's freedom right there.
Mhm.
Give them the tools. And
Yeah.
then I have, same goes with me. When I, am frustrated with having to spend $5 on a small thing of heavy cream because it's clean,
Yeah.
it's my choice. And I got to the point where I'm not putting that in my body anymore.
Right.
So I'm paying the price for it.
Yeah. So I have a story. I have a quick story. I went on Silas's field trip, so they had to bring their own lunches, and it's usually Lunchables, right? And
Uh-huh.
so
Oh my.
this kid, it makes my day when I hear kids saying, "You know that has heavy metals in it, right?" And it wasn't. It
I
wasn't
want to
my
meet their
kid.
mom.
I know. I said that is
let me
fantastic, but
let me meet your mama.
he was not eating a Lunchable brand, but he was also eating a like a Lunchable type. It was Prime
Uh-huh.
something. And I'm like, and you don't think yours doesn't
Yeah.
have it? But
Sorry,
it just
buddy. I got to break
made
it to you.
I'm like, I
Oh,
love this, and that's what I mean, like, it's connecting it with, staying
yeah.
informed and learning about this, like, you learn about it yourself, make
Yeah.
your own ideas of how you want to or what you wanna put in your body, what you're
Yeah.
okay with. Apparently, these people that are eating those Debbie, ca cake bites because
Uh-huh.
they are truly relating that with Christmas, and they are
Yeah.
relating it with their addiction to that.
Yep.
Like, they don't of course, they're gonna be upset that they're
Yeah.
gonna take these little Debbies away.
Yeah.
Well, there's better ways.
Yeah. And you're going to have those
It's probably
people who
gonna
say, I
taste
don't
better.
care. Yeah. I don't care if I die 10
Yeah,
years younger. Eat, live
yeah,
for tomorrow we die. You're going to have those people. But the more people
yeah,
that wake up and begin to engage and begin to educate themselves and change one thing at a time, you don't have to do everything at once, change one thing at a time.
yeah.
And then we need your voice in this. We need you to speak up. And I know that comes from a place of election exhaustion at this point because we're exhausted of the ads, we're exhausted of
Yeah,
the negativity. Take a week off.
yeah,
That's fine. But
yeah,
engaging in public is so important. You should never be shamed out of your opinion. You should never be shamed,
right.
and you should never apologize for wanting to protect the health of our citizens. You should never apologize for that. So, we're going to really encourage you in the upcoming years here to here's how you talk about it. Here's how we don't have to get nasty, but truth sometimes hurts a little bit. And so I am
Yeah,
committed to speaking out no matter what. Now, we don't have such a crazy topic because we want people to live, right? But when you
yeah,
speak up, you change things. We saw it happen. We saw what happened this last month. When you speak up, you change things. And so now, a lot of this
yeah,
here, another thing is a lot of this is going to begin in the states. States' rights is huge right now, and so we're going to see a lot of things change on the state level. So not only nationally, not only your congressman and your senator and RFK, they're going to be doing things, but even more powerful is your involvement in your local communities, in your local schools, in your local, in your state legislature. We just read about, in California. I told Darcy this is really scary. Is you know, uh, agreeing with something that happened in California and, saying, oh, yeah, we agree with that. But Jesse Gabriel, I have no idea what her political affiliation is, but he or she introduced a bill to ban specific food dyes in schools. And so it's the state level, where you really have the power. And even in your community, even in your local school system could
mhm,
change. And so it's so important to start to perk up and start. If this is a passion of yours, number one, change your own life. You can't lead if you're not living a healthy life yourself. You've got to be willing to change yourself first, and that's where Coach Darcy and I come in. Is we help you through that. We help you through your food addictions because a lot of you are completely addicted to food at this point because of the Dorito effect. It's been in your food, and so you are hopelessly addicted to food. So you've got to overcome that first. And
mhm,
then as you watch your life transform, first of all, your head will clear up. You will get suddenly no brain fog, and you can actually think these things through. Some of you are so sick right now, it's hard for you to even put two sentences together because you have brain fog, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
clear that up. You start to get impassioned. We've got a whole herd of clients right now who are on the cusp of like, let me out of the gate, coach. I want to make change because they changed their life.
Yeah.
Hundreds of pounds gone.
Yeah.
Diabetes gone, right? So educate yourself, others. Then you support legislative efforts, okay? You get on the right channels. And then also, what are the healthy alternatives? And Darcy talked about that. Who can you support that cares about this stuff? It's probably more expensive, yeah. But promote healthy alternatives.
Yeah.
And we are making a difference with LMNT. I got a personal note from them this week saying, hey, we heard you. Just so you know, we heard you. So I still have hope for that company that,
Yeah.
enough people spoke
There's
up
other
and said,
options for you, buddies.
There is. There is.
I hope they replace all the boxes that I have of this product that I don't want to use, but has maltodextrin in it. So I hope that they get it out and then they replace all of my boxes.
Yes. That would be a
That'd be
great
great.
request. I have about 10 boxes in my cabinet right now.
Yes.
We were going to give them away as door prizes, but
we're not going to do that.
No. Nope. So they sit. So that's the show for today. We are so excited. We feel like we're going to be heard. We feel like this topic is on the table now.
Yes.
And wherever you stand politically, you're welcome in this battle because we need help. And we're going to start getting more involved both locally here in Indiana as well as nationally. So great day. It's a great day for freedom. For freedom. It's a great day. If you guys are struggling, if you're overwhelmed, if you are sick and tired of being stuck, we want you to know that there's hope. There's healing and there's hope, and you can do it. Sometimes you just got to grab the hand of somebody who can help walk you through it. And so that's what Coach and I do every single day. We set people free. They set themselves free. We help walk them to freedom.
I was gonna say they do a lot of the work.
I'm too excited. I'm too tired to do their job too. But the ones who come in and say, "Hey, what do I need to do?" and they do it, their lives are changing. The ones who say, "What do I do?" and don't do it, they're sitting steady right now. So we want to encourage you this morning because hope is possible. We live in a new day, and we're excited about it. Anything else, Coach?
No. Are we going to talk about Thanksgiving next week?
Oh, yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
Thanksgiving, how to survive Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And
a podcast.
Podcast this morning. You talk about that because that was yours.
So I got on this kick of asking some of our clients to tell their story. And so I got to interview one of our clients. And so you guys need to go support that and listen to it. And hopefully we have some more clients that are willing to do more.
Absolutely. Yeah. This morning we introduced you to Vonda. Vonda's doing amazing.
Yeah.
And so you'll hear her story on Beyond the Scale. Go to any podcasting platform and you will find us Beyond the Scale, Beyond
health and wellness.
Weight loss, health and wellness.
Weight loss and wellness.
Weight loss and wellness. Yes, that is right. I just know Beyond the Scale, but there is another Beyond the Scale. Yeah,
there is.
But
there are.
That just dropped this morning at 6 a.m. So go over there and grab that. And then we are also here every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm so excited about lunch today. I'm going to go have a bowl of my hamburger soup. Have you ever had that? Oh my gosh.
No.
It was so good.
Does it have dairy in it?
It doesn't have to. No. Mine had a little bit of cream in there, but yeah. But it doesn't have to.
So it's meat and broth. I've had that before.
Yeah. Didn't my daughter-in-law call it vegetable? No, cereal.
No, meat cereals is what she called mine. I'm like, that's ruined it for me.
I put veggies in mine. So.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Look at me. So you got a client today at noon.
Any regrets? Yes. Yeah. I do.
Awesome.
I had a lot of them.
I do too. I've got a full day today, so I'm excited about it. I love it.
Get going.
All right. Yeah. We'll see you next week at 11 a.m. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, it's Coach Monica here. Guess what? If you're fed up with feeling stuck in your battle with weight or food, I've got something just for you. Check out our free Facebook groups. Over at Food Addiction and Recovery, I'm over there waiting for you. We're going to walk this journey together. It's about getting real, sharing our stories, and lifting each other up. We're in this together every step of the way. And if you're curious about changing your life with keto, the Weight Loss Project is where you want to be. Coach Darcy is amazing. And together, we're not just talking about losing weight. We're talking about finding a happier, healthier you. So, what do you say? Are you ready to join us? The links are in the show notes below, and I'm telling you, this is more than an invite. It is the start of something great. We cannot wait to see you over there.